Good morning, YouTubers. It is Monday, June 3rd, 2024, and I wanted to get a quick video out this morning because I have the house to myself again. All's quiet, and I just have some talking points. I wrote up a quick piece of paper on talking points, and it just around a figure I came across the other day, which I've been seeing for a while, and I think it's what a problem that most of the pundits of people who are anti-EV, anti-renewables, pro-fossil fuels keep misleading people about. And that's the idea that we have to replace all the energy we currently use, the primary production of this energy, one for one. And but it turns out that the efficiencies of electrifying everything and the switch to renewables and the use of production sources of energy that don't emit CO2 or greenhouse gases, such as nuclear or even geothermal, means that we really only need to replace 40% of the primary energy that we use, because we lose so much energy with our fossil fuel infrastructure that it just takes a lot more energy to do things. Of course, a good example of that is just the gas car versus an electric car. You not only have all the energy associated with getting the oil out of the ground, transporting it, refining it, and then once you get it to the car is only 20% efficient or so. And when you use a renewable source of energy, like a windmill or a solar panel, so forth, tidal, geothermal, nuclear, whatever, you're not emitting CO2, and it costs almost nothing to transport it in comparison to oil over the electric lines, and the car is 3 to 4 times more energy efficient. It's only losing about 10% of its energy to waste heat, compared to a gas car, which is losing up to 80% of its energy to waste heat. So, and one of the other red herrings out there is that my wife's just arriving home. Hey, honey.
Hey.
I'm shooting a video right now.
Okay.
I'll be done in a few minutes. One of the other red herrings is the upfront cost of manufacturing an EV is higher than a gas car currently. And this is a red herring also. Number one, the end user isn't responsible for that extra energy consumption to make an EV, as far as greenhouse gas emissions are concerned. And number two, as we electrify everything and more energy, primary energy production is renewables, the actual cost of manufacturing an EV when it comes to greenhouse gas emissions will continue to get lower and lower and lower. So that's all I had to say on that front. On the home front, the Gilkison household, I recently took a reading off my propane tank. What I've been waiting for is we installed a heat pump water heater in February, and I was waiting for 100 days to elapse so I could get a reading off the tank to see what my reduction in propane consumption had been. Now, as near as I can determine, I got such a low reading that it came out to only 2.5 gallons of propane that I'd consumed in 100 days. And I don't trust that number because the gauge on a tank like that, it's a 400-gallon tank, really doesn't have very high accuracy at just a couple gallons. That's well below 1%. However, it is indicative that we've really put a serious dent in our propane consumption, because the only thing left on the tank right now is a clothes dryer. We switched to an induction stove last year, and then in February, as I said, we switched to a heat pump water heater. So, but this does bring up another problem. If we're using that little energy, the tank rental every 4 months is about $40. In other words, it's $120 a year. So why am I spending $120 a year to rent a tank for possibly only having to buy maybe less than that, every year? I might only have to buy $40, $80 worth of propane, and the tank rental's more than the propane. And so anyway, this brings up a good point. And if it's possible, we can find a used tank out there that's just 100 gallons. That'd be a 125-gallon tank. And we own the tank. We could eliminate tank rentals. And having 100 gallons of propane on hand is more than enough to cover our needs for drying clothes and occasionally maybe using a gas stove on the front porch to do canning. So, and the other issue that came up is we bought a new electric car in March, and it's an Ioniq 5 with an 800-volt architecture, and it has a really larger charger built into the car. And this charger was trying to pull over 40 amps through the older EVSE I had on the wall there that's only rated at 32 amps. So I could get into the car's programming and downrate the car charger, the built-in car charger, down from 100% down to 60%. However, and this worked, all of a sudden I was only pulling like 25 amps through this charger, which that seemed good. However, it turned out that all of a sudden my charger was only 70% efficient in the car. So I was losing like 15 miles per gallon due to charging inefficiencies. And we bought a new portable EVSE, which would go up to 32 amps. It's a brand called Terra. And when I checked it, I could put the onboard charger in the car back to 100%, and it would still only pull 32 amps through this EVSE. So it's not the EVSE's fault. It was something that the onboard charger in the car was doing. However, this older model EVSE apparently didn't have the circuitry to stop that from happening. And the newer one did, because it was programmable. And I'm assuming. So anyway, we're now using that charger all the time, and we have a new 48 amp Terra charger coming. It's going to be direct wire. And once I get it going, I'll be able to charge the car fully under almost any circumstances in less than an 8-hour period during the time of use rate. So, and I've sold my older EVSE to a friend who bought our Chevrolet Bolt. And with the Chevrolet Bolt, I never had that problem, so it's not going to be an issue for him either. It just has to do with our new cars charging infrastructure. So there we are. We've gained our 15 mile per gallon back on the car, and so we're good to go on that. And this is a definite loss, and I don't ever hear very many people talking about their charging efficiency with their electric cars. Very few people ever bother to measure it or even know about it. So there you have it. I'm going to cut this video off right here, because that's all I got for you today. When we get the new 48 amp, EVSE, and we hardwire it in, it's also coming with a pedestal. When we get all that set up, I'll do a show and tell on it. So take care, everybody. See you down the road. Bye-bye.